Okay, so this is actually one of my favorite presentations to ever give, partially because I'm a Baker alumna myself. I graduated all the way back in 2002, and I feel like, basically everything I've done since then has been rooted in what I learned at Baker. And the liberal arts approach to education. So, I'm always super excited to get to share with students about what a school like Baker can do for them in terms of skills and whatnot. I'm also a big proponent of the liberal arts and humanities in particular. I think there's kind of a lot of misconceptions about what the liberal arts are. Like, we hear that term a lot in education. We hear it a lot in the media. But not a lot of folks kind of stop and think about, okay, well, what does the liberal arts actually mean? It's actually a pretty broad term. It describes a lot of different fields that we don't necessarily think of. So it includes not just humanities, but it also includes math. It also includes the natural sciences like biology or chemistry. It includes social sciences like sociology or political science. It includes kind of fine arts. So, it's kind of a broader term. I think we see it in the media used really interchangeably with, to mean, or just to mean humanities, but that it's not just that, right? At a lot of institutions, especially bigger institutions that offer a lot of different majors or a lot of different fields, you'll kind of hear it referred to as the College of Arts and Sciences. So like I used to work at a couple of large public universities, and there was like the College of Business, the College of Engineering, and then the College of Arts and Sciences. And that's where the liberal arts lives, even at those big institutions. At a smaller college, kind of like Baker, or like a Benedictine, or like a Tabor, or other institutions like that, smaller liberal arts colleges are kind of called that partially because they may not always have quote unquote professional fields or more technical fields. So engineering is kind of a big example of that, right? So that's part of why we were kind of identified. There's a lot of myths about the liberal arts, a lot of myths out there. I think the most popular myth that I hear is that you can never get a job if you go to a liberal arts college, or that it's very difficult to get a job, or that you'll be scooping fries for someone, right? I majored in history. I don't know how many people told me, even back then, what are you gonna do with that? Right, there's kind of the prevailing myth that a liberal arts education doesn't prepare you well for jobs or for careers or anything like that. Unfortunately, fortunately for me, that's really not true. So just to give you some examples, and this is borne out by data from a lot of the different professional organizations in the US. So for example, students who want to go into medical school take the medical college admissions test, and humanities, physics, and math majors do better in every category on the MCAT than biology majors do, right? It kind of seems counterintuitive, but it's true. On the law school admissions test, the top 10 performing majors on the LSAT are physics, math, and humanities, right? You might be sensing a theme here. Because, those majors, which are all part of the liberal arts, they teach problem solving, they teach critical thinking, they teach communication skills, and the tests at their heart are still tests, right? You've still got to think your way through an answer and then produce an answer. In terms of unemployment, business majors have the exact same or nearly the same unemployment rates as English, communications, and political science majors. So I talk to a lot of students who want to major in English, and they're like, well, my mom kind of, wants me to do business instead. Even my mom pushed me to do some business classes, right? Well, those can be useful, but business majors are also a dime a dozen. Business is a very popular major, and teaches very general skills, but nothing in a specific field. So the same unemployment rates. Majors that have the lowest unemployment rates include things like education, more specific majors like accounting and things like that. Humanities majors like me were also the most likely among all graduates to go on and get advanced degrees. I know you may not be thinking right now about like getting a PhD like your mom, or going on to get like a master's degree and everything, right? Yeah, see. But it might be a step kind of further down the road for you, maybe mid-career or something like that. A lot of folks, decide to maybe go back, and we are the most likely to get advanced degrees. And of the folks who go on to get advanced degrees, only 3.4% of those are unemployed. A lot of people talk about humanities majors as being, getting low-paying jobs. And some of that is true. The average salaries, starting salaries for humanities graduates are a little bit lower, but a lot of that is because of the fields that they go into, right? A social worker is not paid as much as a chemical engineer, right? Or a teacher is not paid the same as an accountant. So some of it is because of the way professions are valued in our society, and the way that those are paid, right? The good news is that we catch up. So over time, over the course of a career, the average salary of humanities majors rises, and that pay gap kind of gets smaller, right? Because our salaries go up faster than STEM majors do, right? You might start at 60,000 a year at an engineer, but you don't go up at the same rate as humanities majors do. So we do catch up those earnings over time, as an example. So anyone who tells you that a liberal arts education or a humanities degree or something like that, can't get you a job, not quite true. So why do a liberal degree, right? What's the motivation for doing a liberal arts degree? I think a lot of it is it's going to better prepare you for your careers. And I say plural because nobody in the 21st century, or very few people, are going to have just one career anymore, right? Flexibility is kind of the key to maintaining employment in the 21st century. People aren't going to have just one career. Nobody's going to be employed at one company for 44 years and then get the gold watch and the pension. That's not where the economy is going. So a liberal arts degree and kind of that breadth of information that you do get, that's going to give you kind of a wider variety of skills, right? You may get not just kind of particular skills, in your field, but you're also going to get some soft skills like intercultural competency, or like writing communication, like critical thinking. So there's kind of a variety of skills that a liberal arts degree and kind of the breadth of preparation it gives would communicate. A broader training also means more flexibility on the job market. So even if you only, if you major in accounting, you might only get a lot of classes in accounting. But if you do accounting and say, French, then you have maybe a wider variety of careers or career paths available to you, right? And I'll talk a little bit about this on the next slide as well. Doing kind of, liberal arts can also give you a deeper perspective on a particular field. I think one of the classic things that I see, or one of the classic examples here, is this classic poster, right? Science can tell you how to clone a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Humanities can tell you why this might be a bad idea. I firmly believe in this, right? Science may give us the ability to do things, but, you know, studying the humanities or philosophy of things can tell us why, you know, or how to ethically use these types of technologies, right? So, so doing a liberal arts education and getting broad training, you know, is kind of is definitely going to be an advantage in the 21st century. Part of this is because doing the liberal arts can help give you skills in two different areas. So a lot of times employers will talk about hard skills and they'll talk about soft skills. Hard skills are the kind of the technical skills, right? We would think of them as like being able to, you know, edit a web page or computer programming or things like that. Those are kind of technical or specific job specific skills. And then there are soft skills like, you know, social skills, cultural competency, communication skills, writing, you know, things like that. Soft skills are routinely named in the top 10 skills that employers are looking for, because employers can train you to do whatever they need you to do for that particular job, right? But they can't teach you writing if you don't know how to write in a clear fashion. They can't teach you how to get along with your teammates if your social skills are underdeveloped because you've been in only a lab for 4 years, right? So this is where I encourage students to kind of think outside the box in terms of what they want to study in college. So an example of this is, you know, maybe if you really want to major in engineering, do at least a minor in English. You know, why? Because as an engineer, you still have to talk to clients. You still have to communicate with your teammates. You have to present reports, you know, and present proposals and things like that, right? That requires writing and communication skills. Students who want to do pre-medicine or go into any of the healthcare fields, think about philosophy. Right, there are a lot of ethical dilemmas in medicine. There are a lot of moral issues surrounding different technologies. Philosophy and many philosophy programs these days offer classes or tracks in, say, medical ethics or legal ethics, things like that, right? So philosophy is a great option. Political science and biology. I was actually just talking to a student about this at a fair I was doing last Friday. She wants to go into political office. She wants to run for political office in a few years, right? And one of her key issues to her is healthcare. So I told her, you know, she was like, well, I want to major in political science. And I said, well, what about, you know, public health or biology? Because then you would get a really deep understanding as well of all of the science issues and the healthcare issues behind what you're talking about, right? It's not just learning how the political system works. You're learning about how to communicate that particular issue to your constituents, right? Or something like, you know, studying a language with another major, like German and finance. Like, are you aware of Brexit right now? You know, yeah. So a lot of financial firms are leaving Britain and moving to Germany. So what that means is if you're looking for a financial career, for example, you know, learning German is a pretty good idea right about now. All right, if you're looking for any kind of an international opportunity. So that's where a language can really help as well. So those are just some examples of majors or minors that can be combined in a liberal arts degree to give you kind of preparation as well, and both hard and soft skills. So it's kind of a case study, and where does global come into some of this as well? So I like to talk about myself, you know, my story is kind of a case study. So I graduated from Baker, as I said, in 2002. I did a bachelor's degree in history, and I did minors in English, political science, and philosophy. I also studied abroad for a semester in England, traveled around quite a bit, the continent when I did. I decided to go back to the UK for my graduate work. So I went to do a master's and PhD at the University of St. Andrews in Scotland. I was there for 4 years doing that. That was an incredible experience. Talk about meeting people from all over the world and making those connections, right? After that, I kind of wasn't sure, it wasn't the right time in the job cycle, to get a teaching job in the US. So I went and taught English in Egypt and the United Arab Emirates. I was near Dubai, so I got to do that. And it was the PhD that gave me a lot of desirability on that job market, right? Because doing a PhD showed people that I could write really well and that I could speak really well. So that kind of gave me a lot of cachet, even if the PhD was in Latin, right? Latin and Roman history, that was my thing. So after doing that for a couple of years, I did go to be a professor at The Ohio State University for 7 years. I taught Latin and Roman history there. I loved the teaching, but I hated being stuck in my office doing research all the time. So that's when I decided to make a career change. And because of those couple of years I spent in the Middle East teaching English, as well as my own experience as an international student who went abroad, I was able to kind of break into a different field, international admissions. So I worked at Kansas State University as an international student recruiter. I visited 39 countries. It was an incredible experience. And now I'm assistant director of admissions here at Baker, and I specialize in international admissions as well as transfer admissions. So this is kind of like my third career, maybe my fourth if you count the teaching English. In 5 years, 10 years, maybe I'll be on career number 5, who knows, right? That's kind of the thing, but each experience is kind of built on itself, and the global experiences, even if I haven't been hired for a job, it's gotten me interviews because people are like, man, what was it like living near Dubai, right? What was it like living in Egypt? Sometimes I think I got interviews just so they could talk to me about that. So, it's something cool on your resume. It makes you stand out in a way that it might not otherwise. And what kind of skills have I gotten besides, fluency in Latin? Quite a lot. So I'm proficient now in any kind of communications, whether that's public speaking, whether that's writing to any audience, right? Not just whether that's for students or bosses or the public. I do a lot of research and analysis, right? I've had to learn a lot of statistics as part of that. Statistics is not something that I learned in the PhD, but now, because of my job, I've kind of taken on that skill. Project management and logistics, absolutely. Marketing and sales, a lot of admissions is marketing and sales, so I've kind of learned some of that terminology. Intercultural competency, absolutely. Visiting 39 countries, living abroad in the Middle East for 3 years, and whatnot. It's been an incredible ride. I've had to learn software. I've had to learn social media. So all of the skills that kind of come along with these different career changes have been it's an accumulative process. But I really think that my liberal arts education, the flexibility that it taught me, I think that has prepared me well to kind of pick up nearly anything as I go.